Hello, joining me now is Dr. Naveen Rao. He serves as the lead on Merck for Mothers. That's a 10-year initiative that is reducing maternal mortality around the world. Thank you so much for joining us.
Really appreciate it. Thank you for this opportunity. It's truly, as I was mentioning, the mother is the central nidus of the family, of the community, of the nation. And when a mother dies prematurely from preventable causes during childbirth, it's a tragedy because that rips apart the whole fabric of society, of everything falls apart.
Maternal mortality is truly a global problem. I mean, it affects so many countries. Can you put it into perspective for us and tell us a little bit about how widespread it is?
Maternal mortality has been around from time immemorial. Mothers have been dying giving birth, and that happened for thousands of years till modern medical interventions and antenatal visits and in-facility deliveries absolutely decreased maternal mortality in the civilized world, in the developed world. So today, if a mother was to die during childbirth in the developed world, there'd be an inquiry why. It isn't. We know why they're dying, and we know how to prevent those deaths. But having said that, there's really no society, no culture, no class, no country that's immune from this tragedy. And I am sure I will shock you. What I'm going to say next is there's only one country in the world, other than conflict zones, where maternal mortality is on the rise. Every other country in the world, it's coming down. Can you tell me which country is this that it's actually rising, and it has doubled in the last 10 years?
Is it the U.S.?
It is the US.
I am surprised.
Absolutely. So just goes to show that there's really no country that's immune, and if you take your eye off the ball, so to speak, these deaths will come back. And so it's the very nature of healthcare as it is now. Even though America spends more than probably the next 4 countries combined, we have really the worst qualities, and we are ranked 57th in the world. And there are countries in that list that are ahead of us, like Afghanistan. I mean, I'm not Afghan, Turkey, and the countries that you wouldn't believe are ahead of US in maternal mortality.
What have been the challenges to reducing maternal mortality?
So it's the same challenges that I am hearing across women in the world, whether it be gender violence, whether it be women's rights, whether it be any aspect that deals with women. It is society has yet to come to the decision that women's lives are worth saving. That is the only challenge. But once we decide these lives are worth saving, we know how to save them. It's just that we haven't decided they're worth saving. That is my challenge.
It's very disheartening to hear.
But that is the truth.
Really?
That is the truth. So in certain of my field visits, I've seen $50 for a cesarean section, or let's get a new daughter-in-law.
That's a big challenge. So
I've
how
also
do
heard
you?
some more conversations where more hands have been wrung on whether to let the prize cow go or whether to buy a new goat. But these conversations are sometimes not even happening.
So how do you even begin to tackle that sort of mentality, that type of thinking?
Because in each one of those extreme stories, and those are extreme stories that I've mentioned, but there are societies and there are people who want to do good. It's just coming together, finding the right awareness, the right interventions, the right education, the right economic stories. I mean, so there are many ways to approach it, including involving the men, because childbirth and maternal mortality is not a woman's issue. It's a lot of these countries, the men make the decisions.
Yeah.
And yet, it's always considered a woman's issue, and it's not. It's make it an economic story. Make it talk the language that men will understand, and it's not just about the emotional story.
you mentioned it a little bit, you touched upon it slightly, but I want to ask you about the effect of maternal mortality on not just the family but the community. I mean, it's more than just a ripple effect. I mean, it's impactful when a mother dies on an entire community, is it not?
Right. There's a very famous saying. It says, when a mother bleeds to death, so does the nation.
Yeah.
Because I could answer this question from a couple of points of view. One, of course, is what happens to the family directly. The children at home suffer. First, the child in the womb suffers. The children at home suffer. There's data to show they leave school, the family falls apart, they get earlier sexual exposure, the other children, all kinds of data exist to show how the family is ripped apart when the mother dies prematurely. That's one way of looking at it. But even if you look at it from the national economic social fabric, women account for 1/3 of the national GNP. And most of the unpaid labor, whether it's the farm work, homework, are done by women. And when that goes, the nation suffers even on an economic basis. So it's any way you look at it, a mother dying prematurely just rips everything apart.
I want to try to end on a positive note.
Yes.
So very quickly, you have this 10-year initiative. What has been a success that you can look to so
Yes,
far?
right. And I'm glad you brought me back to that, because I do feel the glass is half full.
Yeah, okay.
I do
good.
feel the glass is half full. We need a lot to be done, but there's so much has been done.
Right.
Maternal mortality has been halved in the last 10 years. So it's on the right trajectory. But what got us here won't get us where we need to go. Now we need to double up and really make sure this never comes back. We approach it from addressing the 3 delays that kill women. The first delay is just an awareness that they need to go to get care.
Yep.
We've taken care of, once you take care of that, then the second is delays in getting to care, which is no ambulances, no roads. So you need to be able to have a strengthening the system so that there is a way for the woman to get to care. And the third is when she reaches that, the delay in receiving care. There's either no drugs, there's no doctors. So we need to sit all 3, and we've been able to do that through our program called Merck for Mothers. That's how we're approaching it. It's no one magic bullet. But if you do a comprehensive and you get the communities involved and you get the national political will behind you, you can make a difference. And that's where I see the glass half full, Merck for Mothers. In 4 years we've been around, have given access to about 5 million women quality medical care to survive childbirth.
Thank you so much for telling us about this important issue.
So thank you.
Appreciate your time,
Really
Dr.
appreciate
Rao.
it. Thank you.